Hey everyone, how's it going? Wanted to make a video stressing again about you have to do what you're told. There was this video of this officer with the Windsor Police Department who pulled over an Army lieutenant because he didn't see the license plate because it was a brand new vehicle and he had a temporary one that was taped up in the mirror and in the rear window. And part of the reason why I think he had a hard time seeing it was because the windows were tinted. But it's there, it's blurred out, and even blurred, you can see it there. Pull him on over, they get into an altercation. I think the cops were completely in the wrong for it. And I wanted to contrast this with kind of this other video that I came across where on federal grounds, an officer, a deputy, comes there with a weapon, in uniform. He's asked if he's there on official business or not. He says no, he doesn't leave. He's told he cannot be there unless if he's there for official business, and he refuses. And everybody in the comments is like, they're stupid. They're saying, well, it's because the deputy's black or something along those lines. And it's like, no, that's his job. So we're going to break this down and we're going to talk about both sides of this and why it's important for people to do what they're supposed to do. So if you like my videos, like, subscribe, leave comment, got Patreon, subscribe star. So we're going to watch a little bit of the video. There's fake cop cars, there's fake all kinds of stuff. You know, this one right here is just something that I found, and somebody just put this up on the side of the road to be able to scare people in order to slow them down. And that's going to work for a little while, but the problem with this is that all the local people who are driving, they're going to know they've got a fake sign right there. It's only going to happen for people who are kind of visiting, going on through. So we'll watch this. So a 911 call was made reporting a taxpayer with a gun. Whatever police department, Toledo Police Department officers responded. We don't need to see him driving. So this is it. This is the deputy who's getting into some kind of confrontation. And he's walking out. And he does have his gun pulled on him. And I don't know why he has it pulled on him on this point, but this is the same problem all the time with video footage, is that you need to know what happened before. Because the officer, the security personnel here, he said that the deputy put his hands on his utility belt on his gun, and that's why he did this. So I'm going to back up just to make sure. And he does. There he is. He's got his hands there on his weapon. And you know what? If it was reverse, if this deputy was dealing with someone and he happened to be dealing with a civilian who had a gun on his belt or whatever, and he put his hand on his gun, he'd be freaking out. He wouldn't like that for 1 second. And so this guy drawing his weapon, yes, this is standard operating procedures. The deputy was given commands, he refused to follow them, and the reason why he's leaving now is because he's scared, because he's on federal grounds. So this is an IRS. It's like, yes, IRS buildings, they're part of the federal government, Internal Revenue Service. So now, he does have his weapon down. He doesn't have it up. He's keeping distance back from this guy. So it's good. He's maintaining it. And he's trying to keep this guy from leaving because it's like this. You need to understand that I'm sure that this security guard, whenever he's working this job and he's telling someone, you cannot bring a weapon here into the building unless you have prior permission to do so, that you have to leave, that people do it. That they just go, oh yeah, I don't want to mess with the federal government. I'm going to do what I'm told. We'll listen to some of this. Hear their stories.
How you doing? So I stopped up here to ask a question about.
Jeff, and I need to talk to you before he talks to you.
We're right here. Okay, again, I stopped up to ask a question. You want to pull on the side? It's fine. I stopped up to ask a question about.
Okay, so this is BS because again, this is on federal grounds, and so that it's completely different jurisdiction here. The officers have no jurisdiction in here whatsoever. You know, it's just like the same thing with the county, with the sheriff's department, and the city police. They have no cross say in that stuff. It's completely separate jurisdiction. It's the same thing with the highway patrol officers. It's different jurisdiction. So in Texas, we have Texas state troopers that patrol the highways. The only place that they don't is just within the city limits. But once you're outside the city limits, then it's the state troopers that are looking for speeders and anyone who's driving drunk or whatever, you know, and they're the ones patrolling the highways.
Situation. When I walked in, he said, "If you're up here on official business," I said, "No."
Well, that gentleman out there, he's not here on official business. He came in here. He had his hands on his weapons. Told him to remove his hands from his weapons. He didn't listen. I drew on him.
That is his job. Again, how many times do you think that somebody has come in there and denied that officer's orders? Oh, you have a weapon? You can't come in. You're going to have to take it away. You're going to have to come back again, or whatever the case may be.
Even if he's an officer?
You're not allowed to have your weapons on federal property. Even us.
You are not allowed to have your weapon on federal property. And it's like, what do you mean, you? What kind of privileged statement is that? What is he supposed to do? Conduct a CSI investigation to find out who you are? He doesn't need to do that. He doesn't answer to you. You're not his supervisors. He's got absolutely nothing to do with you. He doesn't know where you work. He doesn't know who the people are who work there at the deputy's office. He knows none of that. They're not the people who write his paycheck. He doesn't know you from a hole in the wall, and I'm going to prove it.
Even you, unless you're here on official business. Which right now, you're responding to a call. If you're on official business, you're good to go.
So, the IRS officer said that you are here on official business because we have called you. So you're allowed to have your weapons. But this guy here was not here on official police deputy business. And so he's got no reason to have his weapon here. The security of the building is not with the deputies. It's with the IRS. It's with the federal government.
He said, "Well, you can't leave your weapon up here. You're gonna."
So here he is, even admitting to it, that he was told that you cannot go in with the weapon.
To take everything off. I said, "But you have a locker." He said, "No, we don't. You have to take it."
It's like, well, why should they have to have a locker? How many people do you think come there with their weapons? It's not like it's the FBI or the CIA. This is the IRS. This is a federal building where they deal with taxes. What are you talking about? They don't have to accommodate you for anything.
Get to the car. And I said, "Well, I have been up here once before. 310, you can have the air." And they never said not. So
That does not matter. Just because somebody else might have been incompetent with their job doesn't mean anything. Or maybe they've changed their policies since the last time that you were there. It does not matter. You are not in charge of nothing. If that's what he tells you to do, then you do what you're told.
another gentleman stood up and said, "Hey, you got to do what he says, or..."
So here it is. Even another person there at the office steps up and says, you have to comply with those orders.
"You're being disruptive," I believe he said.
I wasn't here.
No, I'm just saying. I said, "Okay." And I said, "That's fine." I just said, "But there's no locker, and this is what I'm doing." I said, "So there's no locker?"
Because you're trying to flex by putting your hands on your weapon. You know, if the situation was reversed and you were dealing with someone and they weren't following your orders and they put their hands on their weapons, you wouldn't be down for that either. So you can you can take your double standards and you can show them.
Still got it out, right? Yeah, that's awesome. I still got mine. He still got his gun.
And there's film to see, and he goes, "Get your hands off your gun." I said, "Get your hands off your weapon." I said, "I don't have my hands on my weapon." He immediately.
Yes, you do. He does not have to read your mind to worry about what kind of intent that you have. Oh, I got to pause it because I have one more video that I want to pull up real quick to show you. All right, that didn't take long. So let's keep listening to this clown show.
He goes and he draws his weapon out, points it at me. I said, "What is wrong with you?"
Okay, I have a great response for this. So here is a video from a YouTube channel called Donut Operator. I haven't seen too many of his videos or know much about him, but I believe he was once an officer by the way that he's talking. I think he might have said it once. I was just kind of casually watching. And so here we have, what he does is that he finds video camera footage of officers in engagements, and then he just kind of comments on it, and he kind of bridges the gap between the jargon that officers use and puts it into layman's terms for the rest of us. And so here, suspect pulls out a gun while 4 officers are pointing guns at him. LVMPD shooting breakdown. And so he has here, officers investigating a shooting found the suspect of the shooting inside a business. The suspect complied initially, then turned on the officers and reached for a handgun in his waist. So this guy was already in a shootout before. They found him working here at this convenience store, and he's surrounded by officers.
Turn around slowly. Do not move. Do not go to your knees. Stand up straight. Do not move. Interlock your fingers. Stand up straight. Get the other fully out of you.
Close up your right.
So he'll tell, he's about, I think there's a couple of points where he pauses it and he explains where all the officers are at, and I think he's about to do it now. So there he goes for his gun.
I can't tell what guns they're using exactly from the footage other than, of course, the shotgun from the 3 other officers with pistols. One officer fired 1 round from a 9mm pistol. The officer with the shotgun fired 1 round from his Remington 870 shotgun. One officer fired 8 rounds from his Glock 19 9mm. And the last officer fired 3 rounds from his Wilson Combat 1911. All 4 gang officers fired their guns, and the 2 patrol officers that had their tasers out didn't get a chance to fire, primarily because the guy reached into his waistband, pulled out a pistol, and the gang officers kind of handled business there. Tactics wise, we got a bunch of fire superiority here, which is how you want it to be with someone who you got a good idea of just shot into a car earlier that morning, might still be armed, and you're trying to arrest them.
So yes. So why should this officer who works for the IRS have to play any games with this guy? Okay, well, let's go ahead and because he doesn't know this guy from a hole in a wall. So let's go into this a little bit.
Was driving along M59 in Waterford when he saw an SUV decked out to look like a police squad car. Got closer and realized it was indeed a fake. Mara McDonald live in Waterford tonight. Mara, the sheriff pulled the guy over.
He sure did. Devin, you know, a guy working along this stretch of 59 captured the whole thing on his cell phone. And you see the sheriff in his suit and tie making the stop. And now the department is trying to figure out why somebody driving around in a fake cop car, you know, what have they been doing?
Can you tell which is the legit police vehicle in this video? Because it sure gave the experts pause.
Well, initially it looked to me exactly like a police car. It was a police car. It had the regular police car push bumpers. It had a whole light array on the back. It had police interceptor in the back, dial 911 on the side, stay back, K9 cages in the side rear window.
See, you know why? Because cop cars aren't specially manufactured cars that come from somewhere that only the officers have. You know what they are? They're just regular vehicles that Sometimes they're made to look inconspicuous so they can be undercover. Sometimes they're like all these where they're just blacked out. They look like black SUVs and you don't know anything that's going on until they start flashing those lights.
You can understand why Bouchard, driving down 59, really raised an eyebrow when he got alongside it, and it had a sketchy decal on the door that said emergency response on it.
And I was like, no, that's not a police car. Something weird's going on.
It got weirder. He ran the plate. It didn't come back to an agency. So he activated his lights and pulled it over. The windows so tinted it was impossible to see who was driving. The guy behind the wheel rolls down the window.
He looks at me and says, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm the sheriff. Who are you?"
The inside of the phony cop car was also decked out to look legit.
The guy's got what looks intended to look like a computer-aided dispatch computer mounted in the car, a fake radar mounted on the dash. He's got a .45 semi-automatic loaded Glock handgun and a large Bowie knife.
Back here live, the sheriff.
Here's another one.
New video from a traffic stop where police say a fake cop tried to pull over a real cop. You can see the lights from an accused police impersonator's Jeep Wrangler. Authorities say 23-year-old Imraj Singh flipped on his red and blue lights while unknowingly trying to stop a detective who was in an unmarked car. The Rancho Cucamonga detective realized he wasn't an officer and put on his real lights and sirens. The Jeep sped off, but eventually stopped and the driver got out. Singh was arrested and charged.
Hello, I'm Mark.
Here's one more.
Is now telling his side of the story. Video shows this guy posing as an officer as he pulls over a driver.
The 32-year-old security guard says he was just trying to stop a reckless driver.
I'm not equipped this way by choice, it's by necessity.
32-year-old Jonathan Shaddix showing up to speak with News 6 in his white Chevy Impala, wearing this security vest, a belt showing...
Well, you know what? I'm going to stop it right here, and it's because it's 9 minutes worth of stuff. So I'm just going to read the title of this video, and this is Crown Rick Autos X-Tras, whatever. I don't know. And the title of the video is five more police impersonators caught, and it's a compilation number 3. So they've already done 1 and 2. This is the 3rd one that they've done. So back to this. How's this guy supposed to know? That's not his job. He has his job, he has his orders, and that is, you just don't come onto the premise with a gun. It's like, what's the deal? It's because this guy feels privileged because he's a deputy and he thinks he can just go over and do whatever he wants to. It's like, no, because you know what? That security officer with the IRS, he doesn't know. He can't read your mind. He doesn't know if you're legitimately an officer or not. He doesn't know if you're having a good day or not. I mean, you hear it all the time where officers go around and they're just shooting people and they're in the wrong for it because they freak out because they don't know what they're doing. And they get trigger happy. And so, yeah, whenever you're told to leave and you're not supposed to have a gun in there, and then what do? You put your hands and you rest them on your gun. I don't give a damn what's going on. He doesn't have to risk his life. He doesn't have to cater to you.
And I said, I'm leaving. He follows me out. He says, it's too late now. You're going in cuffs. So he followed me around the corner here. And I said, you need to go back inside.
It is not up to you. You do not get to decide these things. You don't get to change your mind after it's too late because you decided to walk that line too close. He sets where that line is, not you. And whenever you put your hands on your weapon, that's whenever he decided you crossed that line.
He said no.
I wish this, you know what, this IRS officer doesn't know what he's doing because you know how often this happens? It doesn't. You know, I wish he would have said that same thing that cops say all the time. It's like, well, I'm doing this for both our safety. Oh, it's like, yes. And he would have been completely right. Oh, he could have said every single thing that cops like to say to people, he could have said to this guy.
He said, no, you're not getting off.
Yeah, you have an attitude problem. It's like, he can't let this go. Is he supposed to risk his job for you?
Did you even, say anything to him that he should?
I asked him, are you your official business? He said no. Okay, you have to take your weapons off the property. You cannot.
So again, you know what? That deputy said it. Now he's saying it again for, I believe this is the second time.
He asked me if it was someplace where you can store them. I said, no, there's no place here on the property that you can store them. You're going to take.
That's right, because people don't do that. Who the hell is so stupid that they don't understand that you don't bring weapons onto federal property? I mean,
What's the law? What's the law as far as somebody bringing? I understand you're.
And this is just how I'm seeing it.
What's the law of bringing in firearms in the government? And like when it's
Well,
he's not an official, even though he's on county. He's on county time. This we'll check all the records you have to do, but he's coming here on personal business.
and so now this is another gentleman that we'll see over here, and he's part of the IRS, and he's saying the same thing. He's saying you cannot be here. That this guy came here for personal business. Doesn't matter if he's in uniform. That's beside the point.
Not an official business. He can't bring his firearm.
As long as he's in uniform.
But he's not an official business.
That's right. It doesn't matter if you're in uniform or not. We just saw where this guy here had a cop, not this one, but this one, where this guy had an entire cop car right here, and it was a civilian car, and he decked it all out to make it look like it. You can buy uniforms online. You can buy guns. You can buy badges. You can buy all that stuff. He is under no obligation whatsoever to confirm any of this stuff.
Doesn't matter as long as he's in uniform. Because I mean, what if he? And here's.
It does matter because this is federal grounds. You do not get to bring a weapon in.
Here's my what if. What if?
I don't give a damn about your what ifs because you know what? It didn't happen. It's not a what if.
He just got off shift and was going to take care of this because he doesn't live in the city or close to here.
Dude, oh, so what if he didn't live close to here and he just got off work? Then change. What are you talking about? Change at the police station. Change in your car. You can put up window blockers. What are you talking about? That's like the dumbest thing ever. What do you mean?
Before he goes home. Okay, and then it just, and I'm just playing devil's advocate for you.
No, you're not. You're playing, I'm so stupid, I can't even think worth a damn.
So you can understand. Say he does put all the stuff in his car, knocks his car, somebody breaks in and steals all the stuff. Now we got some.
That's nobody's fault. You should be 100% perfectly allowed to do that. And if that happens, then that's a crime. And then you go and you call the police or whoever, and you try to track that person down who broke into a cop car and did all this stuff. Who breaks into cop cars? What kind of crime do you have going on around there? That people are so brazen that they break into cop cars? Or that they see like a civilian car and they're going to see a police uniform and all this gear and they're going to break into it because they're so dumb that they're not able to put it together that maybe this is the uniform of an officer and that maybe I shouldn't mess with it? What are you talking about? He is not responsible for anything that goes outside that building. He said once whenever you come inside that building you cannot bring a weapon. What the hell are you talking about? Clown world.
Some criminal
He
run
probably
around.
shouldn't be here on
You know what I'm saying?
time either. You know.
Well, that.
Anyways, this is all ridiculous. They end up bringing more officers here. Absolutely nothing happens. And then at the very end, there's a little bit of wording saying that this guy is suing. And it's like, I hope he loses and I hope he gets arrested for what he's done. And so this is going back still to this other video where I found, this is body camera video 2, shows Windsor police officer pepper spraying an army officer. So this is something that was on going around, making the rounds not too long ago, and it's the exact same situation. It's the exact same situation. Well, not exact, but it's pretty close to it. And as far as I'm concerned, all these officers, or especially this one fat bald guy, is just a piece of trash. It's like, what a coward. So they're pulling over this guy because he has no license plates. But that's wrong. He doesn't have a license plate where you would normally find it because he just bought the car, and he does have temporary plates in his window. But for some reason, they didn't see it. So they've got their sirens on, they're trying to pull this guy over, and he doesn't want to pull over in a dark place because it's nighttime, and he's going over to pull over in a gas station where there's plenty of light. He doesn't speed up. He doesn't start driving erratically or nothing. So here we are at this brightly lit gas station, and they even say later that the officer knows that, yeah, he's been around the block, and that this is something that people do all the time, is that they, especially at night, is that they will stop and they will pull over into a well-lit area. And it's like, yes, that's exactly what you should do.
Driver, roll the window down!
So it's not this guy.
Felony traffic stop. Put your hands out the window! Put your hands out the window! Turn the vehicle off! Put your hands out the window! Can't tell.
So he does have his hands out the window right there. He does do that. He doesn't get out. It's really kind of a contradictive kind of thing. If you're telling somebody to put their hands out of the window and to get out of the vehicle, it's like, well, you can't get out of the vehicle if your hands are out there, because how are you going to be able to open the door?
Put your hands out the window and turn the vehicle off!
Do you want his hands outside the window or in the vehicle? Because if he's going to turn the vehicle off, he can't have his hands inside the vehicle.
Put your hands out the window!
You just told him to turn off the car. So which one is it?
He's not complying, Joe.
He is? You're giving him two contradictory things to do. Put your hands outside the window, turn off the car. If he has his hands outside the window, he can't turn off the car. If he's turning off the car, he can't have his hands outside the window.
Let me see your hands! How many occupants are in the vehicle? How many occupants are in your vehicle? Open the door slowly and step out.
So I don't know how well you can see it, but I can see it. I don't know how well OBS is doing the imaging on over, but his temporary plate is right here. And so like I said before, it's tinted, so it's hard to see, but you can see it.
Open the door! Get out of the car! Open the door slowly and get out! Get out of the car! Now!
Here he comes.
Open the door! Get out of the car!
Keep your hands outside the window.
This guy that we've got body camera footage over, he's not the one who's doing the pulling over. I don't think I'm wrong about that. I'm pretty sure that's because whenever this was all happening at the time, it was this big bald guy that was getting all the flack for all this.
Keep your hands outside the window. Get out of the car now.
Get out of the car!
Now.
Which one is it? Keep him outside the window. Get out of the car. It's like it's one or the other.
Get out of the car!
Now. Get out of the car now. Yo, what? Guess what? I'm a veteran too. I'm gonna obey. Get out of the car.
And so he says that he was in the Army, and the other guy shouts back, yeah, I'm a veteran too. And at some point in time, he says, you're a disgrace because you're not obeying orders. And he's actually right on that.
Get out of the car now. What's going on? You fixing to watch?
There he is right there. There he is. There's this piece of trash over here. And so he's bad too. And it's because he's not complying with orders. And it's like, yeah, I understand that he's contradicting himself by saying, have your hands out of the car, turn off the car, having your hands out of the car, get out of the car. I know what he's wanting. They want you out. That's what they're really trying to get down. They don't want you to drive off. They don't want you to get away. They want you to come out, and they want to put you in cuffs. And you should do that, even though if it's completely BS and bogus, because whenever you go to the court and you're before a judge and you're pleading your case, whenever you don't do what you're supposed to do, then that makes you look bad. You do everything that you're supposed to do. So then that way, whenever you go to court, then you have no issues and you get to go to town on them.
Get out of the car now. Get out of the car.
And if you watch the body camera footage of this other guy, this guy right now who we're seeing the camera footage of, he's a lot more relaxed. He's kind of yelling and stuff, but his face is just, yeah, you know, it's just, I don't think this guy's going to be kind of a problem kind of attitude. He's being a little resistant, you know, but he wasn't getting any kind of bad vibes. This guy, on the other hand, was just flexing, and respect my authority, you know, from South Park. So.
Car now! Get out of the car!
Sir, just get out of the car!
See, you know, and then that guy just said, sir, just get out of the car. You know, this guy over here, it's like, yeah, he got fired for all this nonsense.
Work with us and we'll talk to you. Get out of the
See?
car.
You received an order. Obey it.
See, this guy was not de-escalating at all. This guy who we watched in the camera footage of, he's like, come on out and we'll talk to you about it. Oh man, I missed it. I'm gonna have to back up just a little bit here. His hands in the way. So right there's his plate. It's a temporary paper one kind of thing that they have up. There it is right there. Right there. I know they blurred it out on some of these. It's like it's not up to you to be afraid or not. If they shoot you, then they're in trouble. I know it sucks, but they get in trouble, they lose their jobs, and then you get to sue the city and the police department for buku's money. I mean, it's not like, yes, it's a risk-reward thing, but it's like these officers would really have to be stupid to shoot at you. They would really have to be stupid. You know how much that they're risking if they do something like that? It's like they're not. Most of them are not that stupid. Usually whenever you hear of a police shooting, a lot of the times it's the media has framed it completely backwards. And a lot of them too, they're just scared and they're nervous and they get a little trigger happy because they don't know what's going on, and they're kind of, it's the exact same thing with that IRS security officer that was there. It's like he was nervous about it because it's like, nobody ever fights me with this. They just do what they're told. They understand they're on federal property here, so.
You should be. Get out. Get out.
Get out of the car.
Get out now.
And so I would say, yep, these officers are chicken pieces of trash because the guy's here. He pulled over like he was supposed to. He keeps asking what he's done. And I would say, why didn't you just answer? It would have taken 2 seconds. What's the problem? You don't have a license plate. Yeah, I do. I just bought the car. I have it taped up in the mirror. That would have been the very next thing out of his mouth. All it took was the officers 2 seconds to say, you don't have plates. That took 2 seconds. You don't have plates. 2 seconds. You don't have plates. And then all I had to do was look. Oh, he does. You know, so he doesn't have a gun. He's not doing anything. They should have had their weapons down by their sides. They could have drawn them, but they could have pointed them down instead of at this guy, because still you don't want an accidental discharge.
You're being stopped for a traffic violation. You're not cooperating at this point right now. You're under arrest. Get out of the car.
And so he's got mace out. He's spraying them. I don't know why they just don't open up the door. I mean, there's a handle right there. Open the damn thing.
Get out of the car now!
Yeah, oh, I love that. That was priceless. Get out of the car now, as I have mace spraying in your face. It's like, good luck trying to do that. That makes no sense. It's like, spray him, wait, let him gain his composure, tell him, yeah, need you to get out. But as you're spraying it in his face, it's like,
Sir, just get out of the car.
So, man, this guy that we're watching the body cam footage of, I like this guy, whoever he is. It's like he's like, sir, just get out of the car. It's like, oh, he's good. This guy, man, oh, put him away and throw away the key.
Get out of the car now! Yeah, oh, get out of the car and get on the ground now and just get it. Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car. Get out of the car and take your seatbelt off and get out of the car. I'm just gonna do speed. You're gonna do as you're told. Get out of the car.
He finally, he's so worthless that now for some reason he decides, well, why don't I just open the door? I don't understand what the hell's going on with Cartman's mind right here. Respect my authority.
Take your seatbelt off and get out. Take your seatbelt off. Look.
He started coughing on that maze stick.
My hands are out. Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car. My hands are out. Don't reach in there, Daniel. Don't reach in there. My hands are out. Please. Please. Look.
Yeah, I think this guy's trying a little bit, but if he just done what they are really after, it's just for him to get out so they can put the cuffs on him. If he had done that, holy crap, if he hadn't been resisting, because technically that is what he was doing, if he didn't resist at all, oh my goodness, man, he would have been able to go to town on them. Oh, this guy could have gone into prison. He could have gotten a lot of money from the city or the police department. It's like, oh man.
Look, this is really messed up. My dog is in the back. My dog is choking right now. Get out of the car!
And this guy says, or he says, well, I'm at somewhere in the video, and maybe we skipped it already. He says, well, I'm an officer. He's a lieutenant in the Army. And then this guy says, yeah, I'm a vet too, and you're a disgrace because you're not following orders. And it's like, that's right. So I was in the Army. I was a 19 Delta Cavalry Scout, and it was the same thing. You were told what to do, and you didn't talk back. Now, you could ask questions, especially if you were doing training exercises. Just like, yes, and that's really what you did all the time. You did training constantly. And so you asked questions. But there were definitely times where it's like, no, we're done with training. We would do Grafenwehr and Hornsfeld because I was stationed over there in Germany, and that's where you go out and you qualify with your weapon or you do maneuvers, and you shut the hell up and you do what you're told, because you're training for life and death situations. And so if you're being told to go do something, you have to go do it because other people's lives might be in danger for all of this stuff. And so it's the same thing with this. It's like this is somebody who should understand better than the rest of us, that especially with civilians, that you have to do what you're told, because that is the technical reason for all of this, is that for your safety and for the officer's safety, they want you out of the car and in cuffs. Because whenever you're in cuffs, it's like, good luck trying to do this stuff. And there's plenty of videos, too, and TV shows where I've seen them, where cops will put someone in cuffs, and then they let them out of cuffs, and they're just like, all right, well, I feel a lot better about all this. I've got it sorted out, and we don't need to do anything. Or maybe they've got a group of people that put them all in cuffs, and maybe one or two of them will be taken away, and the rest of them they're let go until they can just kind of sort things out. And it's because you don't know when this is going to happen. You don't know whenever somebody's just going to pull a gun out of nowhere and just start shooting. It's really hard to shoot whenever you have your hands cuffed. And I don't know what this guy was thinking, because there's like 3 officers here, there's 2 back here, and then there's like 1 or 2 more over here, and this guy still decides to pull a gun and to do this. And I don't know if he lived or died.
You got a good idea of,
it's just ridiculous. And then let's see, I hope it'll finish up here. He does finally get out, and I thought this was...
Get on the ground! Get on the ground now!
It's kind of funny. They can't get him on the ground, and there's 2 of them.
Can you please talk to me
Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
Can you please talk to me about what's
Yes,
going
sir.
on?
You're not.
Can you...
I mean, this officer who has the body cam footage, he's saying, yes, we'll talk to you. But it's like, they got to put you in cuffs first. And after it's all said and done, they do tell him, and they figure out, oh, he does have the temporary plate, that little paper one or whatever. It's taped up there on the window, and they let him go.
Can you please talk to me about what's going on? Why
I thought that was kind of funny. There's 2 of them, and they're having a hard time bringing this guy down.
am I being treated like this? Why? You're not cooperating.
That's right, because you're not cooperating. They are right with that one. So.
Get on the ground.
Why am I being treated like this? This is really messed up.
He told you because you were not cooperating. It's like, yes, I think the whole reason for them pulling you over, it was just a slight judgment miscall. You know, they didn't see that. You know, and I think whenever you pulled over, they had absolutely no business whatsoever getting out with their weapons. None whatsoever. That the guy even says later that that this was something that happens all the time.
Reaction to the Windsor police chief's comments from earlier today regarding a controversial traffic stop involving 2 police officers and an Army lieutenant that has gone viral.
One local group is calling for the...
Anyways, there was another video, or maybe it was, I don't know if it was the same instance or not, but it was someone who worked for the city, and she was talking about how, yes, you have to comply with the orders of the officer. But he ends up getting fired from it all, and it's like yes. So, Island of Wight NAACP calls for chief to resign. The chief had nothing to do with this. He wasn't there. That's so stupid. No, so in a way, the officers, I guess technically, the officers overreacted, especially that bald guy that did the pulling over of all of this in the first place. Completely overreacted. But is that illegal though? I don't think it is. I know I wouldn't like it. You know, I'm getting pulled over because I bought a new car and I have it up, but they miss it. I don't like it, and I think that even though it might be legal for them to kind of overreact, you know, as long as they're not shooting, you know, if they want to draw their weapons, there should have still been some kind of consequences, but because this went viral and it's so over the top. But yes, I just came across this video right here, and down here at the, imagine if not, yeah. This idiot says, when the Discord mod gets his security job. No, he was doing his job. Absolutely, 100%. Here we go with this stupid stuff. Armed black man. Yeah, we're just going to leave out the fact that he's a deputy in full uniform. That means nothing. Whenever I was in the Army, there were plenty of soldiers who were absolute pieces of trash because going through military training didn't do anything about making you a better person. You learned how to deal with putting together and assembling your rifle and doing maintenance on it. You learned how to do the radio and all the weapons, all the other weapons and the vehicles and everything else that you had to do to be able to do survival out there. You had to learn how to read a map with a compass, call down for artillery support, call in airstrikes, all this stuff. First aid, land navigation, I mean, just all this kind of stuff. It's the same thing with the academy. They are not trained to be lawyers. They aren't trained to do CIS investigation kind of stuff. You bring in special people who do CIS investigation stuff. They have people who do crime investigations. This guy doesn't know any of this stuff, and it's not his job. His job is very simple, very straightforward, and that is nobody comes into the building with a gun. That's it. That's it. There's nothing more to it. These idiots, I mean, this person right here is a racist. Mustafa here is a racist because he doesn't care about any of this other stuff that I've talked about. Doesn't want to think about the situation. All this person did was just look at the color of the skin, and that was enough for an excuse. The faces of the officers as they hear how it went down is effing priceless. And I know this guy's got it backwards. I know what he's talking about because that guy does give a face, and it's like, he wasn't looking at the IRS guy like he was in the wrong. He was like, oh man, I don't know what to do here. And he was just dumbfounded. The fact that the guy probably thought he was in the right up until the point where he loses his job is what keeps me going. He didn't lose his job. Nobody lost his job. There's nothing in the video that says that guy lost his job. Yeah, he's... So who's this? LMAO, the cop casually strolling while he has a gun pointed at him. When no one is intimidated by you when you have a gun, it's over for your self-esteem. It's like, yeah, he's kind of right, but that's just the privilege that some officers have. They just think that they can just go around and do whatever. And it's like, yeah, that security officer right there, I'm sure he was like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? So, but he means it differently. You know, but this isn't a good thing. He's got it backwards. He's got it 100% backwards. How that security, these guys can't, how that security got a gun, how the security guard got a gun in the first place is beyond me. I wouldn't trust him with a butter knife. Because you watched him for a few minutes, the entire video is 22 minutes, and there's maybe 3 or 4 minutes worth of footage of him saying and doing anything, and of that stuff, he tells the situation exactly as the deputy does. But yet you're going to make an assumption about him based off of that? What the hell's wrong with you? Yeah, now that did happen where he was going to go back to work, and they said, no, you can't go anywhere right now. And it's like, that's right. That's because that's pretty standard procedure stuff. This happens to people who don't understand this, that if you have a gun and somebody breaks into your home and you shoot them, you're going to get arrested. And it's because they don't know what's going on. That you have to prepare a case. You might be arrested for all of this stuff. It depends. There are some circumstances where it can kind of weigh it as to whether or not if you're going to be thrown in jail or not. But yeah, you're going to have your weapon taken from you. You're going to have to go to court and you're going to have to explain this stuff. You can't have a gun here. Leave. Stay here. I'm detaining you. No, this is wrong. He says you can't have a gun here. Then he puts his hand on his weapon and then tries to leave. And that's why he says, I'm detaining you. Because he put his hand on his weapon. So it's just one stupid comment after another. And I saw all that stuff and it was like, nope, you know what? Screw that crap. I'm going to set the record straight. And so this is blatantly obvious as to why this IRS officer did exactly what he was supposed to do. I don't know what the officer's name is, the security officer or any of them. Well, no, I guess it does show it. I'm not going to look into it because I would not be surprised if the security officer is the one who gets into trouble because they made it an erase thing. So, but I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know the entire situation. But based off of this clip that we have right here, it shows that the security officer, from what I saw, he's completely in the right. Now, was there something else that happened before? Was there something else that happened later after all this? I don't know, and that could definitely change it. But just be aware of whenever you're watching the news or any of these videos, just take it all with a grain of salt. Be patient. Wait. So hopefully all the evidence will come on out so that we can know the entire situation, to know what's really going on. So, but right now, just off of this, it's like, yeah, the IRS security officer is just, yes, right on. But that doesn't mean that he didn't screw up somewhere else. So I will have links in the description below for all of these videos so you can watch them all yourself and give you something to think about. And whenever you see another incident happening with a cop, just take it from both sides and be like, okay, well, what if the situation was reversed and the officer was dealing with a civilian? Would that be all right? Or, with the Army lieutenant here, really try to pick away at these things to see what's really going on, because I want the truth. I want things to be fair and just for everyone, and there's no special favor for officers. It's like if anything, they should be held to a higher standard. So if you understood all this, man, give the video a thumbs up, give it a like. I'd appreciate that a lot. I also have Patreon and Subscribe Star, and we will see you again. Thanks for watching. Bye.